Alrighty, once again it is Tyler for Shock's Guide. Today I'll be doing a walkthrough of the brutal version of the Devil's Playground. Now I've seen a couple YouTube videos, actually quite a few, and all of them on the brutal walkthrough will give you a great deal of passivity when you're playing. You'll play very, very safe. You'll do a one base at a time, a lot of defense around that. And it seems that the plan for most players is just to barely make it through and worry only on defending. When in actuality, this level is far, far easier with a great amount of your attention going to micro and reapers, and then paying attention for when lava comes up. And if you do take care of the mission in that manner, you will do quite well. It'll be much simpler. So right now, I'm getting my hotkeys set up and waiting for the action to start. I like to put bunkers up on any mission where I'm resource constricted or I'm on a resource time schedule. Specifically this level and the cutthroat level later on where you get the vulture. And the reason I say that is because bunkers do you a lot of good. They give a lot of bonus hit points to your marines. You can easily repair them, and at the end, if you're pinched for minerals, you can go ahead and unload them and salvage them back for the entire cost. So really, they're only an initial investment, and they continue out through the entire mission. Now I do want to put a side note. There's actually a feat of strength achievement you can get in this mission. Feat of strength are achievements that are not listed in the normal area. You have to stumble upon them to get them. And on this mission, you won't actually see me get it because I've already collected it and I didn't quite finish it out. I destroyed most of the bases. But what you have to do to get the achievement or the feat of strength is wipe out all of the Zerg bases and structures on normal or harder. It's not that difficult, and it'll make you kind of look cool and impress friends. Now, if you don't play a lot of online ladder gaming, you may be a bit of a stranger to microing. Microing is the contrast of macro. When you're to micro, you'll be in a battle and you'll be using every unit's ability and attribute to its fullest extent. For example, the Reaper and Marauder share two things in common. They have a way of using speed to their advantage. A Marauder with concussive shells can take a shot, take a couple steps back, shoot again, take a couple steps back, and kite their opponent. Whereas the Reapers kind of have the opposite of that. They're just innately so quick that you can go ahead and shoot your opponent, run back, shoot, which you'll see me do very, very often. And you'll actually see it used against the Brutalist when I decide to take care of it. Another achievement you can get is called Red Lobster, I believe. And that is to kill the Brutalist with lava. And I can go ahead and tell you how to do it, but I didn't actually go ahead and do it on this run-through. So at this point, you can probably skip ahead a couple minutes. There isn't a lot of action going on for a while. Mainly, it's just building up. You want, I never put a number to it, but about the amount of SCVs you see next to my mercenary base will do just fine. Because the trick to this level is actually getting the hidden resources laid out. And the resources from destroying Zerg buildings, they actually drop a good amount of minerals. So there's an extra incentive to go on the offensive. To now get to the what you're going to need for this level, you'll probably need about 2 bunkers per entry. And then if you feel a little vulnerable in one of the expansions you're making, you can go ahead and put a bunker up there and make sure to salvage it every time the lava comes up so you won't waste money. Also, I would highly recommend getting an engineering bay and getting +1 to armor and weapons for your infantry, because they're going to be the core of your unit. Now throughout this entire mission I have 2 barracks running with a tech lab, and I will be using them to a great extent. Pretty much having them mass produce Reapers for a very large portion, and then towards the end a couple medics and a couple marines. Now, when I was talking earlier about kiting your opponent and using speed to your advantage, you can pretty much see me go ahead and do it right now. Instead of going one-on-one, toe-to-toe with the Brutalist, which would be a horrible, horrible choice, it will just really wreck your day. I go ahead and micro, except when I'm doing macro at my base, which I forgot to explain later, is doing the infrastructure, kind of like the building up units and whatnot, making sure everything back at base is working. I completely forget to micro, so my Reapers do in fact go toe-to-toe with the Brutalist, and you can clearly see the result of that faux pas. And in fact, I think that I go ahead and do it again, as I hadn't learned from my mistake quite yet. Because on the way back, when the Brutalist will leash to his little home playpen, you can just follow him and shoot him in the back while he walks back. He doesn't pay attention at all. And earlier I said you could do the Red Lobster achievement, and if you notice at the bottom of that ramp, you'll see it again. There is a little cliff on your right, and you just have the Brutalist walking around this area right now, and when the lava just about comes up, you run down right about where I'm clicking now, and that cliff on the right, use your Reapers just to hop back up. A lot of people have their unit suicide to the lava to get the achievement, and that's not a necessity. See, right now the Brutalist isn't even paying attention to the Reapers behind it, which will just right about now kill it. And I believe that kind of sets the tone for most of the level. Right now you'll see me retreating with my SCVs, salvaging my bunker, and getting attacked by Zerg. Zerg love to attack you right before the lava comes back up for whatever reason. And also a nice little trick, doesn't apply only to this mission, it applies throughout the entire campaign. As you know, Reapers do a ton of damage. Their main drawback is they can't take a hit very well. So if you put them in a bunker, they are far, far more effective than a Marine, because Marines can do damage and take a hit, while Reapers, their, I guess, cup of tea would be to shoot, and shoot well they do. But if you want to get the most out of them, go ahead and put them in a bunker. Their main drawback on this level is they can't shoot air, and later in the game you are going to run into a couple of Mutalisks, and that's when I start incorporating about half a dozen Marines and then a medic or two into the mix. But up until now I'm still mass producing Reapers, because it does take money to make money, and you can make a bunch of money going on the offensive. Right now you can see all these minerals and gas just hanging out around, and when you destroy the hatchery, or I believe that would be a lair at the moment, it does give you a pretty large amount of money, which you can just use to your advantage. And then the added benefit of taking care of that, the added benefit of taking care of that little expansion for the Zerg down there is now they're not going to be producing any units to go ahead and give you trouble. They're essentially going to be out of the game, and that'll save you money on infantry, because eventually you are going to lose some of your investment to casualties. And yeah, it's a win-win for you, and actually it's a win-win with another win. Also, I like to attack from the lower end of my base and sweep out to the east. And in doing so, I found that I got attacked by air quite a bit. So if you see where those two Reapers are now, putting a missile turret right around there to take care of the few and far between Mutalisk attack would not be too bad of an idea. And now you'll see me doing, as I often do, the kind of reset. I don't like to load my SCVs into the command center. That takes a bit of time when the lava's coming up, and you really don't have a lot of time to spare. And just take a look at all the minerals around. And that's probably a 800, 900, maybe 1,000 point boost out of my 8,000. So there's so much incentive to go ahead and go on the offensive that you really can't do it. And then you'd be bored if you play this entire mission without going on the offensive. If you just kind of turtled up like a lot of people tend to do on Battle.net and in ladder games, it'd be mind-rottingly boring. Which is why I'm doing the video, to show you how to go ahead and handle it.
Standing by.